Hey guys, Todd with Great Escape Farms here. Today I'm going to do a product review on the DeerBuster deer fence extension system. So this system is designed to go on top of a 4-foot fence to extend it up to 8 foot in order to keep the deer out. So I had a 4-foot fence here. I used that to keep my little critters in and keep bigger dogs and stuff that would go after them out. However, I've had a lot of issues here with deer, so I've had to put fences around individual plants and all, and that gets expensive and time consuming. And I'm planning on expanding the orchard and doing a lot of things this year, so it was just time to put up a deer fence and keep them out. So this is early 2021 and there's a big rush for building materials out there. So pressure treated lumber is extremely expensive right now. So for me to have put in taller posts here and go have the tall posts all the way around, it was prohibitively expensive. So I did add a couple of them here and there around the gates, just so that I could tie the fence off, because I knew I was putting it in. Also allowed me to put in the gates here, and I'll do a review on the gate at another time. So the parts that you get with the kit here is a post, which is shown right here, and you have kind of top part with a hole on it, and the post comes down as 4 foot from exactly 48 inches, 4 foot from this hole to the top hole right here. And on the bottom side of the post, you'll see it's opened up. It's actually closed up on the top. You can see it's sealed up there. So on the bottom part, they give you a cap so that you don't end up not getting any bees or anything else making nests or inside of the post itself. They give you 4 screws per post to mount. By the way, the posts, they give you 12 of those for a 100-foot section. So on average, 8 foot, they figure 8 foot post sections there. They give you screws, so they'll give you 4 screws per post. And they give you a bag of 100 wire, or I call them wire ties, tie wraps, a number of different names for them here. I'll show you some of those once we're installed. And then they say give you a 100-foot section of fence by 4 foot. They also have a 3-foot high section, but I did the 4-foot high, and I'm in the process of installing these right now. And I'm actually going to install a wire through it. I'll show you in a moment a piece with just the parts that they gave us. Okay, so this was kind of my test right here, just to see if I like this setup or not. I decided I did like it, but I'm gonna do some modifications myself. So when I put this together, I didn't trim it up, so I would have trimmed these off right here, the tips of the wire ties, and I would have hooked up the bottom part of this right here to my field fence. And I plan on doing that with hog rings, but I knew this was just temporary. Also on this end over here, I just hooked the end up with 2x4 in there, and it's kind of sloppy. So the ultimate plan is to put 2x2s right here, and I plan on putting a high tensile wire across the top here, and I will hog ring to the top and to the bottom, and then I'll use select wire, or a couple of wire ties on the post there, and that should hold it very, very well, and hopefully prevent any deer from, they can't jump over it, and hopefully they won't try to jump through it, or nothing will try to come through it. So for the high tensile wire, I just wrap it around the post, and then I use a crimping tool with some crimp pieces there, for lack of a better terminology there, to tie it together. You could wrap it around and tie it off there. I just prefer the crimping pieces. And then I come over and I went through the holes here. I came through one side and out the other, and then I alternated on each. And the issue I found there is when I go to tighten them up, it actually pulls the entire post. It binds. So what I'm gonna have to do is put in eye bolts there. And what I ended up coming up with was an eye bolt, a nut on the close in end, 2 flat washers, a lock washer, and then a nut to tie it all down. So let me show you my parts list here. So the eye bolt itself I picked up at Lowe's. It comes with a single nut, and it was, I think, 58 cents. And then I picked up a box of, and by the way, this is 1/4 inch by, I think, 2 inches, the eye bolt. The nuts are 1/4 by 20 thread. There's 100 of them in there, which was enough to do the, what do I have, 48 posts, so that I'll have a couple of nuts left over. Same with the washers. I got the 1/4 inch flat washers there. I'll use 2 of these per. So actually, I'm sorry, I'm only gonna use half of the nuts. I'll use most of the washers because I'm using 2 per. I'm only using 1 of the nuts because it comes with 1. And then I had lock washers right here in my collection, so I didn't have to purchase those. And each one of these containers here, so the nuts and the washers, they were about $6.50 or $7 each. Okay, as you can see, I put the eye hook in here. I have the lock washer on this side, got it nice and tight so it won't twist. I ran a wire through and connected it up to the post end. And let me see if I can back up here. I have a ratchet in, which is holding it nice and tight here. And again, I go all the way down this end, down to the post over there. So what you're looking at right here is the finished product of the DeerBusters deer fence. This is one of the best things I liked about it, is really you can't see much of the fence itself. So let me walk up here and we'll go over some details on the finished product and what it looks like and how it was fabricated here. So overall, that's why I chose this type of fence, is again, just because you can't see it back there, but it's sturdy enough to hold up the plastic fence here. It is enough to hold or keep the deer out and deter them from coming. You can see each post here is screwed in with the 2 screws. I'm sorry, 4 screws, 2 screws on each side. If I needed to put a heavier fence on top than just the plastic one, I would drill these holes out and put in larger screws or lag bolts. Up on top, I already showed you that I put the eye bolts in and I ran the high tensile wire through it. I put hog rings in, and actually I have a ladder down here I'll show you in a minute on that. I did wire tie these right here. These are not the same wire ties that came with the kit. I had another large bag of wire ties that I ended up using because it worked with my wire tie gun better. So I hog tied them on top and on bottom here. So there's several times throughout this video when I say hog tie and hog clamp, and those are incorrect terms. What it should be is hog rings. I used hog rings. For more detail on the hog rings and the tool to apply those, check out our other video, how to make homemade deer fence extension kit, and I will have a link to that in the show notes here. There is one area, and I'll go down and show you that in a moment, that I had to staple. I couldn't hog tie. So we're at the ladder now, so let's go up. And you can see the hog clamp is right here, and I have several of them on here. I actually used the top piece and the hog clamps to put this up. I just put the top ones on, and then I pulled it tight like a drape going across here. Pulled it tight, and then I was able to connect the vertical posts and hog tie the bottom pieces. So I'm gonna have to go outside to show you the hog clamps on the bottom, but I'll do that in a minute, as well as a cut that I did. But before I run out there, let's go over to this side and explain why I did staples. So this side, the field fence is only up to 3 feet. We have a piece of wood up on top, so that extends us up to 4 feet. That will prevent any deer or anything from getting through there. But I'm unable to hog tie or hog clamp the field fence and the deer fence. So what I did is I purchased some galvanized staples from Amazon, and I put in a couple here, about 3 in each section all the way down here. And that's just to prevent the fence from blowing around too much with the wind going. So let me see if I can get out this fence one-handed. There we go. Because I have dogs that are ready to escape. And I think I said earlier in this video, might have been another one, I'll do a product introduction on this gate system here. I have 3 different sizes. But anyhow, I'll save that for another video. So the hog clamps, I actually hog clamped each one in at least 3 different spots, sometimes 4 or 5, especially here on the end. And so the hog clamps were not part of the kit. Also, I had to cut to get around the post here, just the way that this is set up, the way that the wood here is meshed up against the wood post. So you may or may not have to do that. So this one is custom fit. It just, if I didn't cut it, then it ended up binding up there. And another thing I did is on the end pieces here where I have the taller posts, I used 2x2s, and I put a screw in here, just a single one in the center with the net behind it, and I had the full length out, and I just kind of pulled it tight, and then I added the screws about every 6 inches going up. And once it was tight, the fence itself, just to take any wrinkles out or anything, then I went ahead and I trimmed the fence itself up here. I tried to leave at least one piece out, so if it did get pulled out a little bit, it didn't pull it completely out. So one of the items still on the to-do list with the fence and the deer fence extension is to install ground rods. So I have 8 of them here that should cover me. I'm going to put them on corners and around fences or around the gates. And I want to ground the lower fence as well as the wire up on top and all of the gates, because right now they're just a magnet for an electrical storm, so that if somebody is touching it and they ground it out, it could hurt them, or kill them. So what I want to do is ground everything so that it finds a better path to ground an electric storm if the fence were ever hit. So let me wrap this video up. Hey, as you could probably tell with the weather scenes, some in the snow and various different times, this video series or this video had clips and pieces that were taken over a period of about 6 to 8 weeks or so. And it's not that this project took that long, but I'm also doing 2 bathroom remodels and a whole bunch of other stuff plus weather. So a number of things have delayed this project, and the other things are actually a little higher priority than this. So I've just been filling my time on that. What do I think of the DeerBusters deer fence extension kit? Well, let me go into dollars and cents first. Only to a point. I went into detail on the nuts and bolts and the dollars and cents and the differences between my homemade kit and the DeerBusters kit. And what it worked out to was, for a linear foot of DeerBusters, it was $3.33. And for a homemade kit, it was $2.25. However, I had to buy a lot of drill bits and a lot of customizing things on the homemade kit. The DeerBusters, quite frankly, it came with all the stuff. So if you don't have a lot of tools, if you're not into going through and figuring out and making your own stuff, the DeerBusters kit is great. It is plug and play. They have most of the things that you need. If you don't go, let me tell you what I added that didn't come with the kit. So I showed you earlier what was in the kit. What I added were the hog rings on the bottom connecting it to the old fence, the staples down in the other section there, and the high tension wire and the ratchets and the hog rings up on the top section here. So I added all of that because that's what I wanted for my needs, as well as I added the 2x2 posts over here. So this is a wood fence. They also have connectors and ways of, it's an option when you purchase it to connect these up to plastic fence and metal fence. I have no idea what those kits look like. I got the one that went with the wood fence here. So that's the system that I have. Real quick, let me just show you what my personal or what my homemade system looks like. So this pole right here is a what do you call it, chain link fence post that I drilled the holes in and connected up. And then I bought the field fence right here. It's the 10X. You can get that from Amazon. So again, all of the parts and everything that I have in my homemade kit are in the other video. The other video, by the way, I'll link in the show notes, but let's see, it is called Deer Fence Extension Kit, a comparison between DeerBusters and homemade. Anyhow, I'll link to it in the show notes. So back to my thoughts on this fence here by DeerBusters. So this is a great kit because it comes set, ready to go. It has everything that you need. if you're not going to do the high tensile wire and hog rings and stuff, it has everything you need to set up a system fast without any unique tools. All you would need is a Phillips screwdriver. I would recommend a level and a couple other things, but that's it. And something to cut the wire ties with when they're up, and maybe cut the fence to the proper length. So it is a very good system. I do not regret having them in the front yard here. And would I do my entire yard with this? No. And simply because it's an extra $1 per linear foot, that's why I went with the homemade kit. So I was very happy with the homemade kit for that reason. It saved me well over $1,000 because I'm going around 4 acres here. But it's nice and pretty in the front. I love the fact that this kit and everything, that you really cannot see it, or it's not noticeable that much at all from the front of the house. So the DeerBusters Deer Extension Kit is, I would give it a recommendation for a small area or somebody that is not mechanically inclined to go out and make stuff themselves. So that's it. If you have any questions on this, please include it or add them in the comment section, and I will respond as soon as I can. Thank you very much for your time. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on our Odyssey channel, and check us out on greatescapefarms.com. Have a great day.